Hey, it's Kesha. Real quick. One of my last shorts, one of my last videos, I mentioned that, things were pretty bad in December for me personally. But despite me being as low as I was, I knew that one day, someday, it would get better. And I think that day is today. Um, and it's not like anything has changed. But then again, everything has changed. And really, it has to do with me. In these last 3 months, I've moved through um, a number of very heavy and difficult emotions because I was in the midst of some very difficult and trying circumstances. And the reason I want to do this video is just to talk to you a little bit about the importance of resiliency and perseverance. In that moment when it feels like everything has gone to shit and you are completely alone, you just have to love yourself enough to trust, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment, that things will get better and that things will be okay. That as low as it may seem in that moment, well, it can only go up, right? Even if it does seem to go down, it can still go up. And one of the things that I think has been key to me being able to ride this out and rise has been that I have taken my own medicine. I've been doing the things that I talk about. Now, I imagine if you've watched any of my videos, you pretty much recognize that I walk this walk and I talk this talk. And, I am living every inch of what I'm sharing with you. And if you've ever been one of my clients, you know that when I give you homework, I'm likely doing the homework with you so that the next time we talk, I have a real world and immediate example to share with you from my experience over the same exercises and observations that I've been sharing with you. And so I think one of the most pivotal exercises that I have done that's helped get me to this point has been that meditation that I put up recently on releasing the frisson of, that stress. Like you think you've released the stress, but then you realize you're still kind of held in this cage of uncertainty. And, I've been practicing that meditation for a few weeks, if not a month, before I finally recorded it. And I've been steadily practicing it since then. And, man, what a difference. Because, the feeling is the secret. The feeling is the thing. And when you want to be on the other side of a particularly stressful situation, the way to help get you there when you don't control the outer events that are going to happen is to take control of yourself and your inner activity. And that meditation was key because it opened the space and it allowed me to feel the feeling of freedom from stress and true relaxation and just letting it all go and trusting that I'm being held by the universe and that there is something other than me supporting me and holding me together. And, last night I started thinking about recording this video and I couldn't sleep. I was so excited. I just feel like all the things that happened in December, and it was a successive avalanche of bullshit, quite honestly. It felt like the dirt was being heaped on me. And, I've been this seed that's been in incubation for all this time. And at this moment, I feel like I'm about to break through. And it was so exciting last night. I just get the feeling like something's going to happen in the next week or two that's just going to blow this wide open, and show me that, yes, indeed, it was all worth it. I've had some really fantastic, bold, vibrant realizations in the last couple of days and weeks that's made this walk that much easier. And it's made it all make, a little more sense and been helpful in helping me cope with all that's happened. And I might look the same. but I am totally different. And so really the message that I have for you, and I wanted this to be to 3 minutes, but we're just talking, so it's going to be what it's going to be. If you are in it so deep that you can't possibly fathom how God could be part of it, and you're so angry that you cannot have a reasonable conversation with God, have the conversation that's on your heart. And if you have to call him a motherfucker to get that done, do that. If you need to not have a conversation with God for a little bit, take a break. Because this is you and it's what you need. And I certainly went through that in December and January. How could I talk to God when I was praying to God for months and months and I was still in the middle of this shit, right? And so I had to take a break. And I didn't feel guilty about that because, there was nothing else for me to do. I had done all I could and I still ended up where I was. And I didn't feel like there was a God that was helping me at all, or that I was recognized or important or, seen. And so I had a lot of anger and disappointment, confusion, and all of those, like I said, big, heavy, weighty emotions. And I just let myself experience them because they were real and they were valid, and glossing over them was not going to be the thing. Like, there's just no way that you can put that kind of anger aside and not have it create even more deleterious effects, right? So I just let that be. And gradually the anger subsided. And I was able to come around to thy will be done. Father, I am trusting. And, one thing I will say, if you can't sit and meditate, and right now I'm still, I don't have my daily meditation practice back. That's just a little too hard and too close. But I do the, relaxing of the stress and the friction. If you can't have close, quiet, meditative time with God, then at the very least, when you can, as often as you can, express gratitude. Because there's always something to be grateful for in the midst of some nonsense. And that little bit of gratitude is, a crack in the door opening. And so that little bit, if that's all you can do, that's enough. And trust that more will come. That's the thing, it's like, and I have this conversation with my other spiritual friends who also experience long nights of the soul and trials and tribulations. I mean, like we all do. Once you know the power and the love of God, where are you going to go when you feel like when you've been abandoned? It's not like, you drop this and turn away. It's like, you might take a break, but there's nowhere else to go. I'm not going to. And, I even had people try to recruit me to another religion. I'm like, fuck out of here with that nonsense. What kind of faith would I have if I abandoned mine just because things got tough? And that's something else I wanted to share with you. As tempting as it may be, because you are living your situation and you think you are seeing it in its entirety, just know that even to yourself, regardless of what it looks like to the outside, even if you don't like the way it looks, that doesn't mean that's what it is. Because until the whole story is written, you don't know how it ends. And, because you don't know how long the story is, just because you're on page 478 doesn't mean anything if it's a 20,000 page book, right? Like, we don't know. And so resist the temptation. Although I know it's hard in the moment, but you've got to take yourself in hand and resist the temptation to think that what you see, or what you think you see and what you are feeling and experiencing is all that there is and is what it is. Because it is still part of a much larger plan and picture that you might not have the full awareness of, right? And it takes moving through that particular point in time and space where you are to have a greater understanding of that. So as one person who has been through it and, going through it, I just want to share with you that perspective. Don't think that where you are and what you think you're seeing is all that there is. And, fuck the people who look at where you are and make that judgment that that's all that you are, because they don't know. And if you haven't heard the saying, you need to remove the beam out of your own eye before you worry about the splinter in mine, right? So, out of here with that nonsense of other people, whether it's the things that they say and do or what you perceive they may be thinking of you. They don't matter. They simply don't. Their opinions don't matter. And if they were focusing on their life as hard as you are focusing on yours and as hard as they are focusing on yours, they wouldn't have any room to talk, and they wouldn't need to say anything, because they would have already developed compassion for having lived through their own experiences. So I read a post from someone the other day, and I don't know that I'll get it exactly right, but they were saying something to the effect of they were felt deeply depressed and alone, and that they could understand how other people do the things they do. And I wrote them back that today is not tomorrow. And what other people do, whether you think you understand it or not, does not mean that that's yours to do. And I would say that to you as well. This existence is so much bigger, grander, and richer than we allow ourselves to fathom, because we get locked into the minutia of the moment. We are so much bigger than that. Our lives are so much bigger than that. Our purpose is so much bigger than that. And unless you take yourself in hand and remind yourself of that, or listen to someone who reminds you of that, it's easy to forget. But these are my thoughts today on how to be resilient and why it's important to just keep on keeping on. Take a break when you need it, when you need to. But keep going all the same. Because it does get better. It just does. It just does. And I can't wait to come back and tell you what the magnificent things that happened are. I can already tell, a couple things are just falling in line. I was telling somebody the other day that I wanted to find a neighborhood to walk in. I wanted to see new scenery, and I wanted to be somewhere close I could drive to, park my car, and just walk around. But I didn't know where that was going to be, and I thought I was going to have to drive far, blah, blah, blah. And because I was thinking that, I put it off to the side. But today I went to a job, and it was, 10 minutes from my house. Cute little neighborhood I'd never been in before. I didn't even know it existed. All these houses, all this neighborhood, where people park on the street and they look like me, and, people were out walking, and I'm like, this is my little neighborhood. And just to have said that yesterday or 2 days ago, and to have that happen today, it's moving. Things are moving. Things are happening. There's some other projects that I'm working on. I can't quite. Oh, well, one thing I will tell you. I've mentioned this before, that I'm writing this book. But I haven't really written on it lately. I kind of think about it, but not really. But in the meantime of working on that, I did write another one. And I actually wrote the thing from start to finish. So there has been some progress, just not on that particular manual, but it's coming. But yesterday I found that there is a group that meets. It's a writer's group, and they each come for 2 hours and sit at this cool library in town, and they work on their book. And I'm like, these are my people. When I read about it, it was just text and words. But I'm like, these are my people. Next time I want to go, I want to be included. Please include me. Don't, I am here. And then a couple minutes later, I saw a different post from the same group, but it had a picture of the people who were at the writers group, and they totally look like my people. I look like I'm one of them. those are my, and I'm so totally psyched. And then I'm thinking, okay, so it's going to be next month. And I'm like, all right, which book am I going to be working on? What am I going to be working on? But in the meantime, I actually feel inspired to work on the books. And I know I'm inspired to do something because I'm sitting here recording this video. And I've been, off camera, off grid for quite a while. And I actually have roughly, I think at least 6 different videos in queue to record. So clearly I am making my way back and making my way forward, onward and upward. And I'm bringing you with me. I be lifted up, baby. So until then, stay cool, stay calm. Let's get this shit done. Let's have some fun. I'll see you soon. Bye.